You've been lied to since the moment you opened your eyes. From cartoons to classrooms, they told you a hero is gentle, kind, always smiling, always forgiving. They made you believe that goodness is weakness, that strength is scary, and that power is dangerous. They taught you to fear your own potential, your own aggression, your own ability to dominate, and the result, a generation of soft, spineless men who can't protect themselves, can't protect their families, and can't face the brutality of the real world. The truth they won't tell you is this: every real hero is a monster. Controlled, focused, refined, but a monster nonetheless. You don't get to be a hero unless you have the power to destroy. Why? Because the world isn't made of fairy tales. It's made of wolves, vipers, traps, and chaos. And if you walk into that reality with a smile and a soft heart, you'll be eaten alive before you take your second step. You can't save anyone if you're harmless. Harmless isn't noble, it's pathetic. Being a nice guy without the capability for violence isn't a virtue, it's a flaw. If you don't have the strength to fight, then your peace is just cowardice in disguise. Your politeness is submission, your humility is fear. A real hero is not someone who avoids conflict. A real hero is someone who walks into the fire because he knows he can control it. He can face darkness because he's darker. He can face monsters because he's worse. And that, right there, is what separates the weak from the strong. Look around: who wins? The bold, the ruthless, the prepared, the strong. Life doesn't give trophies for good intentions. It gives them to the ones who earn it through force, through endurance, through dominance. You want to be a hero, then grow claws, develop fangs, turn your body into a weapon, turn your mind into a fortress. No one is coming to save you. You must become the one who saves, and that means killing the version of you that's afraid to go to war. Let's talk about war for a second. Not the one with guns and tanks, but the one you fight every day. The war in your mind, the war in your habits, the war in your discipline. You don't win that war by being soft. You win it by becoming ruthless with your time, savage with your focus, and relentless in your pursuit. You need to become a monster, not in the sense of chaos, but in the sense of power under control. Someone who knows his destructive potential and chooses when and how to use it. You think heroes don't get angry. They do, they just channel it. They don't let it blind them, they weaponize it. Anger, pain, rage, those are fuel. Use them. Convert your suffering into energy, your rejection into obsession, your loneliness into sharp focus. Weak men cry and beg. Strong men build and destroy. They become exactly what life tried to stop them from becoming: unstoppable. And let's get something straight. This isn't about being violent for the sake of violence. This is about being dangerous so you never have to be violent. It's about being capable of destruction so that others know you are not to be taken lightly. That's what creates respect. That's what commands attention. People don't follow weakness, they follow the strong. They follow the man who has the power to destroy everything but chooses to lead instead. That's the hero, the monster in a tailored suit, calm eyes, quiet presence, but if needed, he will end the storm with his bare hands. Do you think peace comes through kindness? No. Peace comes through dominance, through capability, through deterrence. You get peace when your enemies know that crossing you would cost more than they can pay. You get respect when your presence makes people reconsider their plans. You become a shield for those you love, not because you pray the danger goes away, but because you are the danger that danger fears. The reason most people never become heroes is because they are terrified of what it takes. They want comfort, not conquest. They want security, not supremacy. They want to be loved more than they want to be respected. And that's why they live average lives, forgotten, replaceable, and weak. Heroes don't chase comfort, they chase challenge. They don't avoid pain, they hunt it, because they understand that fire is the only forge of greatness. You want to be a real man, then stop trying to be safe. Start trying to be strong. Stop hiding your edge. Start sharpening it. You don't need approval, you need power. You don't need permission, you need to act. The world doesn't reward those who wait for the perfect moment. It rewards those who make the moment theirs through force, through fire, through focused aggression. And if you think you can rise without struggle, you've already lost. The hero is built in the dark. He's built in silence. He's built in the gym when no one's watching. He's built in the cold when the weak are sleeping. He's built in early mornings, late nights, in every sacrifice the average man runs from. The hero doesn't complain, he doesn't wait, he doesn't expect, he creates, he takes, he dominates. Ask yourself this: are you willing to become the monster required to protect your dream? Are you ready to kill your laziness? To destroy your distractions, to slaughter every excuse that ever left your mouth? Because until you are, you're not ready to win, you're not ready to lead, you're not ready to be the hero. You're still a civilian in a war you were born to command. Weakness is contagious. It spreads. It infects your thoughts, your words, your habits. And if you don't kill it, it will kill everything around you. Your future, your legacy, your soul. But here's the good news: you don't have to stay weak. You can evolve. You can awaken the monster inside. You can train him, refine him, unleash him, not for destruction, but for order, for victory, for purpose. Because being a monster isn't about being out of control. It's about having absolute control. A hero is not someone who never gets angry. It's someone who knows exactly when to unleash that anger and exactly when to hold it back. It's someone who's prepared for war, but walks like a man of peace. And if someone threatens his people, his vision, or his code, he turns into something the enemy never expected. Do you know how many men crumble the moment pressure shows up? Most, they fall apart. They beg. They break because they never became monsters. They were too busy being liked. They thought the world owed them something for being polite. So when the real world slapped them in the face, they had no fight in them. Just tears, fear, and failure. Not you. Not if you choose the path of the hero. Not if you choose to train like a beast, think like a king, move like a predator, live with intention, clarity, and violence of purpose. That's what it takes. That's who the world bows to. Not the passive, not the innocent, but the savage who controls himself so well. You forget he could break every bone in your body if he wanted to. This world respects power. It respects strength. It respects the man who takes hits, keeps going, and never flinches. You don't get to sit at the table of greatness if you're scared to bleed. You don't get to hold the throne if you can't swing the sword. Stop running from the pain. Stop running from the work. Run toward it. Embrace it. Because that's where the monster is born, in the discipline, in the discomfort, in the daily decisions no one sees but everyone feels. Being the hero means taking responsibility for everything. No excuses, no blaming, no victim mindset, just ruthless accountability. You become the monster not to hurt others, but so no one can hurt you. You become the beast so that you can walk among the sheep and lead them out of danger. You earn that power, you earn that respect, not through words, but through actions, pain, and relentless execution. Don't let the world define you. Redefine the world through who you become. Let people doubt you. Let them underestimate you. That's fuel. That's fire. While they're talking, you're building. While they're sleeping, you're training. While they're waiting for the right moment, you're creating it. You're earning the right to be the monster in the mirror who answers to no one, fears nothing, and lives with one mission: dominate or die. You either become the monster or the monster eats you. The hero doesn't become a monster by accident. It's a choice, a conscious decision to stop playing the victim and start becoming the threat. You don't get handed strength. No one is going to wake you up one morning and say, "Here, have some power." You have to take it. You have to earn it through sacrifice, through repetition, through blood, sweat, and pure mental warfare. The ones at the top, those legends you look up to, they didn't get there by being friendly, agreeable, or soft. They became legends because they were dangerous and disciplined at the same time. Understand something: being feared is not the same as being evil. There's a big difference. Weak men confuse the two because they can't comprehend power that is controlled. They think being feared means you've lost your soul. Wrong. It means you've mastered it. The hero is feared because he's capable. Because he's proven he will not tolerate disrespect. Because when things go south, everyone looks at him not for sympathy, but for leadership, for decisive action, for strength. You can't lead anyone if you're constantly afraid to hurt feelings. This world isn't made for overly emotional men who want to make everyone happy. This world crushes them, buries them, erases them. The hero has to develop a kind of mental brutality, an indifference to distractions, temptations, and criticism. He moves forward like a machine, not because he lacks emotion, but because his mission is more important than the temporary comfort of validation. The reason most people never get anywhere in life is simple. They are too soft to become monsters. They want everything handed to them. They want results without sacrifice. They want success without becoming savage. They wait for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, the green light that never comes. Meanwhile, the real monster, the real hero, he doesn't wait. He creates. He breaks down walls. He kicks in doors. He becomes the nightmare that average men whisper about when they try to explain why they failed. You want the throne, earn it. You want to be respected, be worth fearing. You want to dominate, then first dominate yourself. Because if you can't master your own mind, your own body, your own time, you'll never master anything outside of you. That's the brutal truth no one wants to hear. You're either in control of yourself or you're a puppet, and there's no middle ground. The man who masters himself becomes a monster of purpose, precision, and presence. The kind of man who doesn't have to raise his voice to make the whole room shut up. Let me make this clear, being a monster isn't about rage. It's about dominance, not chaos, but command. The real hero doesn't walk around picking fights. He walks into the room and everyone knows not to start one. His discipline is louder than any words. His routine is savage. He trains when others sleep. He reads while others scroll. He plans while others procrastinate. And when it's time to strike, he doesn't hesitate. He executes. You can spot a monster by his schedule, by how he treats his body, by how he guards his time, by how he protects his mind from useless noise. The average man lives in distraction, scrolling endlessly, consuming garbage, running from his purpose. The monster, he's in the gym lifting pain. He's in solitude sharpening strategy. He's waking up before dawn facing the mirror and asking himself, what weakness do I kill today? You think this is just motivational fluff. It's not. This is survival, because if you don't become a monster, you will be eaten alive by one. The marketplace is full of predators. The streets are full of wolves. Your enemies don't care how nice you are. They care how capable you are. They care whether or not you're soft, and if you are, they'll take everything from you. Your job, your girl, your money, your pride. The world will strip you of every illusion and leave you broken unless you become stronger than what's trying to destroy you. People talk about balance, that's cute. Balance is for people who have already won. If you're still struggling, still building, still trying to escape mediocrity, then balance is your enemy. You need obsession. You need tunnel vision. You need to become a machine that doesn't stop until the mission is complete. Later, when you've built the empire, when your kingdom is fortified, then you can talk about balance. But until then, you wake up and grind like your life depends on it, because it does. You want the respect of a lion, then stop acting like a sheep. Stop hiding your ambition. Stop playing small because it makes weak people comfortable. Let them squirm, let them talk. While they gossip, you build. While they laugh, you lift. While they sleep, you sacrifice. And when they finally see what you've become, it'll be too late. You'll already be gone. Already on to the next goal, the next level, the next conquest. The hero is never done. He's always evolving, always hunting, always sharpening, and that's what makes him terrifying. Because while others get satisfied, he stays hungry. While others celebrate, he trains, not because he hates life, but because he loves the fight, because he understands that staying sharp is the only way to stay free. You either evolve or die, and the moment you stop becoming a monster, you start becoming prey. You know who fears monsters, cowards. You know who respects monsters, warriors. Every alpha in history had a monstrous side. The difference is, they controlled it, they used it, they didn't let it use them. They became precise, they became strategic, they became God. Like in their execution, not emotional wrecks, not impulsive fools, masters of their own aggression, artists of war, and that's what you must become. You want to protect your family, be the monster that monsters fear. You want to build a legacy, be the one no one dares to challenge. You want peace, then make sure you're the reason it exists. That's how the hero operates. Not by hoping things go right, but by ensuring they do through sheer force, unbreakable will, and tactical savagery. Stop letting your emotions make your decisions. Emotions lie, they fluctuate, they betray you. Discipline doesn't, routine doesn't, work ethic doesn't. Build your life on those and you'll become untouchable, but if you keep following how you feel, you'll be weak forever. No one cares how you feel. The world respects results. The monster inside you doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about progress. When you wake up tired, that monster says, get up anyway. When you're tempted to quit, that monster says, finish it. When you're surrounded by noise, he says, focus. And when fear shows up, he doesn't flinch, he smiles, because that's his fuel, that's where he thrives. You think strength is about muscle, that's just one part. The real monster trains his mind just as hard as his body. He studies, he plans, he knows his enemy, he knows himself. He knows that brute force without strategy is wasted. So he becomes dangerous and intelligent. He becomes lethal and calculated. He becomes the storm and the calm before it. You ever see a lion in the wild? He doesn't roar for no reason. He's quiet, controlled, observant, but when he moves, everything else runs. That's who you need to be, not loud, not emotional, just calculated aggression wrapped in calm confidence. That's power. That's the monster's mindset. No need to prove anything, because results speak louder than noise. The monster doesn't care about opinions. He doesn't need validation. He validates himself through action. Through pain, through conquest, he looks at the battlefield of life and says, I don't need permission to dominate. And then he does, without apology, without hesitation, with absolute precision. You think becoming that version of yourself is easy. It's not. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's worth it. Because on the other side of that transformation is freedom. Real freedom, not comfort, not likes or applause, but internal power. The kind that can't be bought, can't be given, can't be stolen. Only earned, and when you walk into a room as that man, as that monster in control, people feel it, they respect it, they follow it, because you've become what they're too scared to become. You've faced the fire. You've walked through hell, and you've come out with scars that speak louder than any words. So, here's the bottom line. You want to win in life. You want to dominate. You want to protect, provide, lead, conquer. Then kill the softness, bury the weakness, and resurrect the monster. He's inside you. He's been waiting, starving, watching you waste time, scroll through distractions, make excuses, but he's still there. And the moment you decide, really decide, to wake him up, nothing will stop you, because when the monster is awake, the world bows. The problem with most people is that they want the glory without the grind. They want to be called a hero, but they don't want to become a monster first. They want the world to love them, follow them, respect them, but they don't want to do the uncomfortable, brutal, necessary work to deserve that respect. They don't want to become the kind of person who dominates every room he enters. They want admiration without intimidation, and that's where they fail. Because the truth is, in this world, the ones who get remembered are the ones who can bite. Not bark, bite. They don't whine, they don't complain, they don't beg for chances, they seize them. They impose their will on the world, and if the world resists, they crush it. You think heroes are born with capes and medals. No, they're forged in pain, they're built in isolation. They come out of silence, out of failure, out of rejection and relentless self-discipline. The world didn't hand them power, they took it by force. The monster inside every great man is not there to destroy, it's there to protect. Protect his mission, protect his values, protect his people. But you can't protect anything if you're soft, if you're scared, if you're always hoping for comfort. You can't build a kingdom if every time something hurts you run. The hero becomes a monster not because he loves destruction, but because he understands that sometimes destruction is necessary. Sometimes to build you must break. Sometimes to rise something inside you must die, and most men are afraid of that death. The death of laziness, the death of addiction, the death of distraction, the death of weakness. They don't want to kill the parts of themselves that keep them average, because they've grown attached to those parts. It's familiar, it's safe, and that's why they stay small, because they fear the monster more than they hate being mediocre. But the hero, he doesn't just kill those parts, he buries them deep and never looks back. He becomes something else entirely, someone unrecognizable to his past self, the kind of man who no longer negotiates with his excuses. The kind of man who no longer tolerates his own doubts. The kind of man who no longer seeks validation because he knows he's earned his place. You want to lead, you want to be followed, then be worthy of it. Be stronger than the men around you. Be sharper, be faster, be more dangerous, not for the sake of ego, but because a weak leader is a dead leader. People follow strength, not noise, not status, strength. And strength only comes when you become the kind of person who embraces suffering, who chases discomfort, who laughs at resistance. Let me break it down even more brutally for you. If you're not intimidating, you're replaceable. If people don't feel your presence, they won't miss your absence. That's the truth. You don't get to leave a legacy if you walk around tiptoeing through life, trying to please everyone. You don't get to make impact if you're constantly looking for acceptance. You only make waves when you move like a monster, with purpose, with conviction, with force. And let's be honest, most people are too domesticated. They've been tamed by society, by school, by weak parenting, by media that tells them being aggressive is bad, being competitive is toxic, being dominant is wrong. So they become sheep, nice, quiet, submissive, compliant. And then they wonder why no one respects them. They wonder why they keep losing. It's because they've been trained to be prey, not predators, but not you. You wouldn't be reading this if you were satisfied with weakness. You're here because there's a beast inside you that knows the truth, that knows life is war, that knows survival belongs to the relentless, not the reasonable. That voice inside you, the one that gets louder when you see others win, when you feel yourself falling behind, that's the monster waking up. That's your true self, clawing out from under layers of lies you've been fed since birth. And here's the truth. You won't win this game by being a good guy, not in the way the world defines good. The world wants you soft, obedient, addicted, broke, distracted, and silent. They want you tame. Why? Because tame men are easy to control. Tame men don't rebel. Tame men don't rise. Tame men don't build empires. But a monster is a threat to the system. A monster is uncontrollable. A monster is self-reliant, mentally fortified, financially independent, and spiritually untouchable. So here's what you do. You train every day like your life depends on it, because it does. You sharpen your body, your mind, and your spirit until they become weapons. You turn pain into power. You let every failure fuel the fire. You don't complain, you calculate, you don't cry about your past, you conquer it. And when that monster inside you finally comes to the surface, you own it. Don't apologize for being intense. Don't apologize for being focused. Don't apologize for outgrowing people. That's what monsters do. They evolve. They leave the herd behind. They become lone wolves, not because they hate others, but because they refuse to be like them. The price of greatness is isolation. The price of domination is misunderstanding, and the price of becoming a monster is that most people will be afraid of you before they ever respect you. But that's the point. Fear is power. It's not about being violent. It's about being capable. It's not about being cruel. It's about being undeniable. When you walk in, people know you can handle whatever happens, that you don't need backup. That your presence is a fortress, that your mind is a weapon, that your spirit is a fire that can't be put out. That's the hero the world needs, not the soft, emotional, overly agreeable version they keep pushing. What's crazy is that when you actually become this person, people will try to shame you for it. They'll call you arrogant, toxic, obsessive. Why? Because you make them uncomfortable, because you expose their weakness just by existing. Because when you walk in the room, they feel small and they hate that feeling. But here's the trick. Don't dim your light to comfort their darkness. Don't shrink so they feel tall. Let them drown in the truth. Let your excellence be a mirror to their mediocrity. You were not born to fit in. You were born to rise. You were not designed to be passive. You were designed to conquer. There is no evolution without resistance. No power without struggle. No glory without grit. The monster within you was put there for a reason. To pull you out of the mud, to break you out of weakness, to make sure you never settle for a life of quiet desperation. So stop being surprised when life punches you in the mouth. That's what life does. It's testing you. It's asking you, are you ready to become what you claim to be? And your answer is not in words, it's in action. It's in how you move when no one's watching. It's in how you respond when things go wrong. It's in how you carry yourself when everything's against you. That's where the monster is born. That's where heroes are forged. In chaos, in pressure, in fire, and once you become that person, the one who doesn't flinch, who doesn't fold, who doesn't make excuses, you become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. You develop the kind of grit that can't be taught in school, the kind of drive that doesn't need external motivation, the kind of discipline that doesn't waver, no matter the circumstances. That's what separates monsters from men. That's what makes you the hero of your own life, not the victim of someone else's. You think this is about being violent or aggressive. No, it's about being ready. It's about becoming the kind of man who has trained himself into such a state of readiness, such a state of inner dominance, that nothing can break him. That's real masculinity, that's real power, and that's why the hero has to be a monster. Because the world isn't fair, because the wolves are always circling, because weakness is an invitation for destruction, and because the only way to protect what matters is to become something terrifying to your enemies, yet deeply loyal to your mission. The fake hero shows up when it's convenient. The real hero shows up every day, whether he feels like it or not. He doesn't need motivation. He is motivation. He doesn't chase pleasure. He chases purpose. He doesn't live to be liked. He lives to be feared by his demons and followed by real men. So ask yourself, are you going to stay soft, distracted, and docile, or are you going to transform? Are you going to let society keep you tamed? Or are you going to break the chains, unleash the beast, and finally become the monster the world can't ignore because the clock is ticking, the weak are dying, the strong are rising, and if you don't become the monster now, you'll be praying to be saved by one later. There comes a moment when a man either wakes up or dies asleep. That moment isn't loud, it doesn't come with trumpets or applause. It comes in silence, usually in the middle of the night, when you stare at your own reflection and realize something terrifying: you're the problem. Not the world, not your boss, not your parents, not your past. You. That's when the real transformation begins. Most men never get there. Most of them run from that mirror, run from that truth, and bury themselves in distractions. Video games, porn, alcohol, parties, useless conversations, and fake friendships. They build little padded rooms in their mind where they're always the victim, always the misunderstood genius, always the one who could have made it. If only the world were fair, but let me tell you something the world will never tell you: life isn't fair, and it's not supposed to be. Life doesn't reward the innocent, it rewards the savage, the relentless. The one who doesn't beg for fairness but becomes so dominant that fairness doesn't even matter anymore. When you decide to be the hero, you're signing up to carry weight most people would break under. You're choosing to suffer deliberately. You're choosing to show up when you're exhausted, to fight when you're bleeding, to stay disciplined when you're tempted. Why? Because heroes are forged in fire and monsters live in fire. You don't become powerful by avoiding pressure. You become powerful by owning it. You don't get stronger in air conditioning. You get stronger under load, emotional, physical, mental pressure. That's the price. That's the crucible. If you're not willing to bleed, sweat, cry, and keep going regardless, you've already disqualified yourself. Let me tell you what most people don't understand about monsters. They are controlled. They are not wild animals tearing everything apart. No, they're focused, strategic, purposeful. The monster inside you has to be disciplined. That's what makes you deadly. It's not just about brute force, it's about harnessed power. Power with precision, violence with vision, rage with reason. The weak think power is chaos. The strong know true power is control over chaos. That's why the hero needs to be a monster, not a slave to emotion, not a loose cannon, but a calm storm. A man who can destroy everything in front of him, but only chooses to unleash it when necessary. That's real strength. That's real masculinity. That's real dominance. Think about the most powerful men in history. They weren't soft, they weren't popular, they weren't playing nice, they were feared, respected, and focused. They were monsters wearing suits, kings with scars, warriors who learned how to turn pain into purpose and fury into fuel. Your edge is what makes you dangerous, and in a world that's trying to shave it off, to make you docile, compliant, agreeable. You better fight like hell to keep it. Every time you compromise your edge for approval, you weaken your soul. You betray the hero you're becoming, and let's be honest, people don't even respect soft men. They pity them, they step over them, they smile in their face and mock them behind their back. You want to be loved for being harmless? Congratulations, you'll be invisible. But when you walk into a room with that quiet confidence, that intensity, that presence of a man who's been through war and came out harder, colder, sharper, they can't ignore you. That's respect, that's power, that's what the monster gives you. The real ones, those who have built something, fought for something, survived something. They recognize it immediately. They know who's been in the trenches and who just wears the costume. Don't be the costume, be the killer behind the calm eyes, be the man who doesn't speak unless it matters, be the one whose reputation walks in 10 seconds before he does. And here's the thing, monsters don't need to announce themselves. Their aura does it for them. You know why, because power is felt. You don't have to prove anything when you are the proof. When your life is structured, your body is carved through discipline, your bank account reflects decisions, not distractions, and your mindset is built like a fortress. People can't help but respect you or fear you or both. You've got to earn that energy. No one is born with it. You build it, day by day, rep by rep, hour by hour. You don't have time to scroll all day, gossip, or argue with cowards online. You're too busy becoming dangerous. You're too busy building, and while the masses are wasting time, you're stacking wins, small wins, silent wins, the kind of wins no one sees until one day you walk in and they wonder how you became who you are. They'll call it luck, they'll call it privilege, but it was war, and you went to battle every single day when they were sleeping. The hero who is a monster doesn't need a crowd, he doesn't need applause. He doesn't need to be liked, he just needs to conquer, he needs results. Because results are what separate the dreamers from the doers, the boys from the men, the victims from the victors. But be warned, the moment you decide to live like this, you'll be hated. You'll be attacked. People will call you arrogant, toxic, intense. Let them. Weak men throw stones at the strong to distract from their failure. Let them talk. Let them whine. Let them live in their little emotional playgrounds while you build empires. Because one day, when it all comes full circle, when the empire is built, when the money's flowing, when the respect is overflowing, when your presence turns heads, you'll look back and realize it was all worth it. Every sleepless night, every lonely day, every silent sacrifice, you'll realize the monster you became wasn't your downfall, it was your salvation. This world doesn't reward the harmless. It respects the man who could destroy it, but chooses not to. That's who the hero really is. Not a saint, not a people pleaser, but a warrior in disguise, a monster on a leash, a force of nature wrapped in discipline. And if you're reading this, listening to this, something in you already knows it. Something in your gut has always whispered, you were built for more. That whisper, that's the monster calling. That's your higher self breaking through the lies and fear and noise. That's the hero waking up. So stop ignoring it, feed it, train it, trust it, unleash it when necessary, let the world adjust to you, let the cowards fall away, let the weak throw tantrums. You have a mission, and missions require monsters. You didn't come here to be average, you didn't come here to be soft, you came here to dominate, so rise, because your time is now. And the throne doesn't wait for the timid, the world doesn't need more nice guys. It doesn't need more men begging for permission to live. It needs fire, it needs fury, it needs warriors who walk into hell and don't flinch. If you want to be the hero, you don't become it by playing safe. You don't get crowned by hiding in comfort. You earn it by becoming the one person no one can break. The one man who doesn't need validation because he's already proven himself in the dark, alone, with nothing but discipline and rage as fuel. You want peace? You better be capable of war. You want respect? You better be willing to command it, because the world bows to power, not potential, and you'll never access that power until you stop running from the monster and become him. The monster is the guardian of greatness, the final form of the man who refused to die in mediocrity. So now the choice is yours. Stay soft, stay silent, stay forgotten, or rise, evolve, and let the monster take the throne. Only one of those paths leads to legacy. Only one turns you into a real hero. Make it count.